Hey, this is Matt. Once again, welcome back to another video. Another paid request, this time from Broad Stipe. Thank you so much for that. And for those interested in requesting any type of videos, topics, commentaries, reactions, reviews, what have you, feel free to send it either directly to my PayPal or join my Patreon. Both links are down below in the info box. And this is for the 1990 film Flatliners, which I am a fan of, but I'm also a fan of Joel Schumacher, who sadly has passed away. And Joel Schumacher, before I get to the film, he got really a bad deal, bad rap, because of the Batman films he did. Batman Forever, which I liked more as a kid. Nowadays, I'm not big on the film, to be fair. I mean, to be honest. Batman and Robin, it's a laughable train wreck. But people act as if those are the only two films Joel Schumacher has done, which is BS, because I like DC Cab. That's a fun comedy with Mr. T, Gary Busey, a crazy cast, the Barbarian Brothers. I enjoyed The Lost Boys, one of my favorite vampire films. I enjoy this film, which I'll get to. Falling Down is a great movie. A Time to Kill, a lot of good emotional pathos in that with a solid cast. Matthew McConaughey, Samuel Jackson, Sandra Bullock. A Phone Booth, very tight, suspenseful thriller. 8mm, definitely one of Nicolas Cage's more underrated films. So Joe Schumacher, even Tigerland, I thought was a pretty good one with Colin Farrell. So he's a really good filmmaker. Doesn't mean every film he did was a winner. There's no director that has a perfect winning streak, in my opinion. But he made a lot more good than bad movies. And the cast in this film is great. You got Kiefer Sutherland, you got Julia Roberts, you got Kevin Bacon, you got William Baldwin, who's actually decent in the film. You got Oliver Platt, who I didn't think was too annoying in the film. They play medical students. As Kiefer says at the beginning, today's a good day to die, and they're doing this. He wants to do this experiment about he goes under, he dies for a minute or so, and to get brought back. They think he's crazy. What are you doing? I'm going to do it anyway. Kevin Bacon, he's more of the skeptic, and it seems like he and Kiefer, their characters go way back. Julia Roberts, you get the idea that maybe she was with Kiefer at one point, and then she falls for Kevin Bacon. William Baldwin, he's more of a ladies' guy. He secretly videotapes his sexual excursions. Oliver Platt is the only guy that never goes under to the other sides, and maybe you say he's a little bit of the comic relief of the group. One thing I like is that there's no jump scares in the movie, which I'm in films like the remake, they try to do a whole lot of jump scares. And number two, I think is a very stylistic, good-looking movie with a very interesting premise, a top-notch cast, and it's a story ultimately about forgiveness, facing your sins, and being able to forgive yourself, to be able to grow as a person because of this experience. And I think that makes the film work better than some people give it credit to. There's a little bit more meat to the matter. So again, they start doing these medical experiments. First Kiefer, and then they kind of do these bets. I'll go 1.5 minutes. No, I'll go 2 minutes. No, I'll go 2.5 minutes. And now that Kiefer said he's experienced something, he saw something there, and this crazy feeling. Now more and more people want to do it and see what happens. So William Baldwin, who would later be in Backdraft, Virus, among others, he goes under, and then Kevin Bacon, then Julia Roberts. And again, they start. They have. I like the way each time they go under, it's a different set of circumstances, of visions, the way it's stylistically done, which is hard to verbalize, but showing a bit of a hint of their life. Like Kevin Bacon, when he goes under, almost like a VHS tape, it goes backwards, showing images of his life, and then even him as a kid, and other stuff going on. And a bit of character development where each one has their own story being told. Just after this, their sins. Well, you know what Kiefer says it back. We brought our sins back physically, and they're pissed. So their sins have become a physical form and are messing with them. So, for example, Stephen Baldwin, he keeps seeing video images of his sexual conquests. So if he's trying to videotape something, he sees them there. If he passes by TVs, he's seeing it there. Now, granted, that's not creepy or anything. It's more just weird. But there's nothing really creepy about it. But it's still a bit of character development where this guy kind of has to... And truthfully, it's not that he grows, it's just that his fiance finds out, and then she leaves, and then they stop. So I guess kind of he just found out. So I guess technically he didn't like grow, as in he didn't choose to end it. So I think maybe that's a little bit wanting on his character, where maybe if he decided to show this stuff, and then of course she leaves, and then he's like, well, you know what, I deserve that, then maybe that would have worked out a bit better to show that he actually grew as a character. But on the flip side, Kevin Bacon, it's sad because he doesn't go through a lot. He only goes through like one event where this bit on this train, and I like the way the lighting's done. Some really good cinematography and lighting by Jan de Bont, director of photography, who'd go on to direct films like Speed and Twister. He really had some nice sequences set up, like the train, how everything dims and the lighting, and here's this little girl from his past cussing him out, saying all these names, and people are just laughing at Kevin Bacon. Just when he was a kid, he would mock this girl. So after seeing this, which it is, it makes Kevin Bacon the smartest person, because he's like, after this one event, fuck that. I want to know what's going on, what's happening. Something's going on. I'm going to try to fix this. I'm not letting this go to number 2 or number 3 of these events. And he's the one that takes the initiative to find this person when they were adult and apologize. And it feels like something's been lifted. And then in a way his past sin's been lifted as well. Well, Kiefer goes through the toughest time because this little boy, which I swear I've seen this little boy. I wonder if is he the little kid in the Blob remake who is related to Shawnee Smith's character? I don't know. It seemed like the same kid. I should have looked him up. I got a phone here. It'll take me a minute to look it up. Sometimes I've resulted in a bit of laughable sequences. Like, I get it. This kid is not a kid. It's this physical form of the sin. So it's a... call it supernatural, metaphysical, whatever, so it can overpower Kiefer in that way. But like, there's a bit where he's on top and he's spitting these looties at Kiefer's face, and Kiefer's like, no, as his looties on it. That seemed like a comedy bit. So the whole lootie scene, I get what they're going for, that we find out that Kiefer and his buddies were bullies who were bullying this kid, and maybe they had done something like that to him, so he's doing it back. But it's just when you have a little kid forcing a grown-ass man down and slow looties hitting Kiefer's face, he's like, no. It just... scenes like that became laughable. You didn't need that scene. There were enough scenes of the kid terrorizing Kiefer to suffice. So I think 1 or 2 of those scenes could have cut the running time down a bit and take out some of those laughable moments. At least to me. But I do like the set design of the film. A lot of times they tape these experiments, or when they go under, this is before they know really what's going on. It looks like in a church. It looks like a church setting, which I guess makes sense in a weird way because of what they're doing. I wouldn't say playing God, but messing with that whole thing. So it just made it feel like a unique set. Same with like when we first see Kevin Bacon, and he's a student, but he saves this person, but then he was unorthodox, so people get mad at him. It's like this long hallway that does not look like a hospital. It looks, again, like a. If whoever makes churches designed a hospital, it was very unique set. It was just a very unique. I don't know how to put it. Just a unique look to it. Okay. Let me check this. Okay, I know the name of the kid, so let me check this out. Sorry. It'd be bothering me if I don't. I don't need the plot. Sorry about this. Okay, for some reason I thought it was. I guess I'm wrong. Let me look up something else. Sorry about this. But I was also talking about the look of the film. Another thing I liked is when Julie Roberts, she starts seeing her past sins, which is the death of her father, who ended his life, shot himself in the head, and kind of trying to figure out like what happened. How did this happen? No, that was Michael Kenworthy. Okay. No, Michael Kenworthy was in the Blob remake and Return of the Living Dead 2. So it wasn't this kid. I swear it looked like him, but I guess it's not him. Sorry, so that was a whole waste of time. Sorry about that. No, that was Michael Kenworthy. This is another kid. I swear it looked like him, but okay. I was wrong. Sorry, wasted all that time. But hey, shit happens. But when Julia Roberts, and I like that for her visions, it'll be this red glow around the room. And there are times where she'll turn snap out of it, and then the glow dissipates, and the scene doesn't cut. So that means they physically had to have the scenes light up like that. And then it was cool to see that done on camera physically, so it gives a bit more of a surreal look to the film. Nowadays, that'd be done in post digitally, and it would look more fake and more just look more phony. I also like how Joel Schumacher and Yandabon, they use the camera, like when Kiefer rides with Kevin Bacon, and Kevin Bacon goes in to talk to this person from the past. This lady, Kiefer stuck in the truck, and the camera POV where it circles and swirls around as if it's hunting, and of course it's his force representative of this kid he picked on, that piece of shit of Kiefer Sutherland's. And again, I like the subtext of make amends, sort of, how do I put it? Make amends for either your past sins or guilt or past trauma or past something going on. And then maybe you can actually grow as a person. Now, it would have been nice to see a little bit more of what that growth would lead to. Again, if William Baldwin had said, you know what I was doing was wrong, and I chose to show my fiance this, and if whatever she feels, okay, she left, I deserved it, so I need to be a better person. If Julia Roberts, like, maybe it showed a bit more of that, maybe she was shy at the beginning, she was in her shell because of this event in the beginning, like, of her past. of childhood trauma, so she's not really talkative, and by the end, she's maybe a bit more outgoing, a bit more comfortable in her own skin. If they showcase a little bit of that, I think that would have been even stronger in terms of the message of the film. But I think there's enough of that message that makes it an interesting story. And like I said, the cast worked so well. It's a really good cast. Like I said, I really like the set design of where they do their experiments, the way these visions are done stylistically in 1990, where you had to do it mostly in camera, even when they go under, the way that things are edited, and it just visually cool to see. That's, I don't know how else to put it. Maybe I'm also being vague for those who do want to see the film. I think you definitely see more of the growth of Kiefer Sutherland's character, where he's much more cocky and sure of himself at the beginning of the film, and then throughout it you see him a bit more unraveled as it goes on. I thought I paid my dues. And spoilers, super spoilers, you find out that he can't make amends because when he was a kid, him and his buddies were throwing rocks. The kid accidentally fell and died, and of course Kiefer felt guilt for that, but maybe became this bit more of an asshole person as he grew up, and he decides, you know what, you get the idea, he thinks he deserves to die, everything we do matters, and he decides to put himself under without anybody there, just to go in and try to make amends on the other side, his spirit or whatever. And I like that it was this true source of forgiveness, where he did, like, maybe the kid actually goes up to Kiefer, and without having to verbalize it, without having to be like a big old conversation, to non-verbally showcase, hey, I accept your apology, you didn't do it. I I just like the way it was done. I like the way it was showcased. I like the way it was visualized. I know I'm doing a bad job showcasing it verbally, but I also like a little bit of this friendship between Kevin Bacon and Kiefer, where they have this past, and Kiefer's like, listen, I don't want to do it without you. I would feel more comfortable if you're there. And they have this, I don't know, not animosity, but kind of this butting of heads, rivalry together. And then by the end, when Kevin Bacon gets there, like, they've given up on Kiefer, and Kevin Bacon's like, fuck that. He doesn't deserve to die. So that further showcases the friendship they have with each other. And I like the bookend where at the end, Kiefer gets out of it and whispers something to Bacon, and Kevin Bacon's like, he said that maybe it wasn't such a good day to die. I thought the cast worked really well together. I think Joel Schumacher usually fairly good with that. He was good with that in The Lost Boys. In DC Cab, he was good with that too. And while I do think the movie didn't need to be 2 hours, like I said, the one or two times Kiefer's attack, I thought we kind of got enough. Like I said, the whole Ludi scene you could take out. On the flip side, it would have been nice if William Baldwin, either if his scenes were a bit more creepier, or a little bit more, you didn't really feel any danger from what was going on with his character. And again, it's pretty much his fiance's girlfriend found out and then left, and it was like, okay, felt a little anticlimactic. So I would say of the folks, his was kind of the weaker one. Although I do like the way it visually did, where he would see it on TVs and stuff, and this thing where you see all these women talking. Like, I thought some of that was visually interesting to see, but I think that could have had a little bit of beat to the matter on the end of that segment of his story. Julia Roberts, they don't make her dance with distress or anything. Like I said, I felt more for the characters. I felt more for what they're going through. You felt a bit more character development. And I don't know, people don't really, the people that badmouth the film, they don't really seem to give it that kind of credence, that kind of props, so to speak. They just go with silly and stupid and that's it. I'm like, go watch the fucking remake. You want to see silly and stupid. And that's the thing. Like, this isn't like some label it as a horror film. I don't know if that's. I get where they're coming at, but at the same time, I think that can put people a bit on the wrong track. I mean, sci-fi. It's hard to say psychological, but I get where they're going at. But if people think this is going to be like a scary horror movie, then I don't know if they would really get what they want from that. I would say you did a talented cast, pretty interesting story about forgiveness and facing your past sins, done with some 90s flair and style, some interesting sets, some pretty neat visuals showcasing when they go under, be dead for 1, 2 or so minutes. Again, the usage of blue lighting or red lighting for their visions. So it makes it an interesting visual experience. And overall, like I said, I just liked the story overall. For the most part, just thought it was a very interesting story. So I've always liked Flatliners. And with that said, thanks for watching. Take care, and we'll see you guys later. Bye bye.